You cannot grow wealth by keeping money in your bank account. On the contrary, keeping money in the bank makes you go closer to being below the poverty line, because as inflation increases year on year, the value of that money in the bank just continues to reduce in its value, and eventually you find out that you will not be able to buy a whole lot of things that you would ordinarily buy as at the time you had that money saved in your bank. It's a matter of urgency for you to start putting your money to work so that your money can make you way more money. Start putting your money into things that go up in value. Why? Well, in this video, we'll be talking about why you should stop saving so much money in the bank and start investing it. And the first reason, which everybody knows this already, is inflation. Keeping money in the bank ordinarily reduces your purchasing power just because inflation has taken away the value of that money. By investing in something that goes up in value, you can get a return on your money, and that return outpaces inflation and at the very least help your money to maintain its original value. You cannot grow wealth by keeping money in your bank account. On the contrary, it's keeping money in the bank makes you go closer to being below the poverty line, because as inflation increases year on year, the value of that money in the bank just continues to reduce in its value, and eventually you find out that you will not be able to buy a whole lot of things that you would ordinarily buy as at the time you had that money saved in your bank account. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to explain that all the money you have, you should invest it. You should save up some money for a rainy day, and that money is called your emergency fund, where if you have any emergency, either your family or you had an accident or any emergency that occurs, your emergency fund will be there to help you to foot those expenses. And the experts have always advised us to keep 3 to 6 months of our expenses in our emergency fund. Whatever that amounts to in your currency, it's up to you, so that by the time you have an emergency, either you lose your job or you have a family emergency, you can easily have access to that money. And if I'm being honest, right, I don't think you should keep your emergency fund in your bank account. Also, I would recommend platforms like PiggyVest, which guarantees you up to 8 to 10% returns on that savings of your emergency fund, and also allows you to keep your savings in dollars, which would guarantee you 7% return on your savings on their platform. So rather than keeping your money in your bank account, which will still be diminishing month on month in value, I would advise you keep your emergency fund on high yield savings accounts like PiggyVest, right, which will continue to increase the value of that savings. And with your emergency fund in a high yield savings account, you don't have any reason to be concerned about inflation because your savings is already beating the inflation. So any smart money person would know that putting your emergency fund in a high yield savings account is way easier, is way better, is way smarter than just leaving your money in your bank account. But I want you to understand that having an emergency fund alone does not make you rich. It does not create wealth, and it's not for a long-term purpose, because emergencies always happen. Again, I must say, emergencies always happen. So you would always find the need to spend that money, but make sure that what you're spending it on are actual emergencies, and not, I have a friend who is celebrating his wedding and he has asked us to contribute. No! And then you dip your hand into your emergency fund and pay your own part of the wedding expense. No, that is not an emergency. Emergencies are events that are unplanned and require your immediate attention, such that when you ignore them, they will continuously bite back at you until you make those expenses. And everyone understands that in Nigeria, anything can happen. Literally anything can happen. So rather than when that emergency happens, you start running around asking people to please lend you some money. Start now to set aside your emergency fund that would save you all the shame and all the embarrassment from people when an emergency arises. And at the end of the day, it's still going to give you returns. So it's still a win-win. Another important reason why you should stop saving so much money in your bank account is that people who save money in their bank account ordinarily use that money to buy stuff that they don't need, to impress the people that don't even care. There are so many people today, especially in this part of the world, who think that acquiring things and owning a lot of stuff is them living. One thing you should understand is that if you feel like stuff or owning stuff is you living, that is a very terrible way for anybody to live their lives. The quality of your life is not the number of years that you have lived, it's the experience in those number of years that you have lived. That is what determines the quality of your life. So if you attribute all of that to acquiring things, owning stuff, then I'm sorry, but you are not a genuinely happy person. You will forever be a slave to all those stuff that you have. And let me tell you, there will always be new stuff to acquire, and you will constantly be looking for new stuff that will make you happy. There are 3 ways in which people spend money. The poor people view money as a means to pay their bills, right? The middle class people view money as a means to acquire liabilities. They use their money to acquire cars and a whole lot of other liabilities, thinking that all those things that they have acquired are assets, while the rich people use their money to make more money. And after they've made that money, they will now pay off their liabilities. Which leads us to the final reason you should stop saving so much money in your bank account. And that is, you need to use that money to own assets. Think about it. When you have your money saved in your conventional bank account, what does it do for you? Instead, those banks use your money and flip it to make more money. How do they do that? Either they use your money to invest in the financial market, or they use your money to lend other people and charge outrageous interest on it. So instead of them to use your money, it is better for you to use your money to make more money. And how would you be able to do that? By acquiring assets, example stocks, real estate, bonds, and a whole lot more of all this investment that you can own. And this is why you need to use the money that you have, which is currently going down in value, and flip it into things that are going up in value. And I want to say that if you have any question at all on investment, please feel free to ask in the comments section. If you are deriving any form of value, please hit the subscribe button. Also like the video and write your comments on the video. It will truly mean so much to me to know that my videos are of great impact to people. Like I have said in a whole lot of my videos, you don't need so much money to start investing. Start with what you have. Even if it's as low as 5,000 naira, invest it in something that you know that would appreciate in value. I really hope this video has been helpful to you. If you want to know how to invest in the stock market, click this link to learn all about that, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.